We have another chat, though, while we wait for Andrew to come back. Stifler, ask everyone to rate their looks on a scale of 1 to 10. Their looks, physical looks, scale 1 to 10. We'll start with you. We'll go around the table. Go ahead.
8.
So 8.5.
8, 8.5.
I'm a 10.
7.
8.
6.5.
I'd say 7.58.
4.
That's lower than last time.
Yeah.
I used to say 6. I'm a 5.
In front of all these beautiful women, how could I ever not humble myself down to a 4, really?
Proud of you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Took guts.
I'm a 5. I give myself a 5. So wait, 8, 8.5, 10, 7? 8? Okay. All right.
Brian, you rated yourself lower than usual.
Yeah, I've been
Wait, what
getting
did
a
you
little
rate
chubby.
yourself?
6.5.
See, now that's humble.
Yeah, that's humility.
That's
right there.
humble. That's humility. Right? That's the thing that's usually harder for men to do. Just say it. Just point it out.
I've noticed a pattern here. I think men tend to fairly accurately self-assess their own level of physical attractiveness, whereas
I've heard
women
men
not so
have
much.
more self-esteem issues than women do.
What's that?
I've heard men have more self-esteem issues than women do.
I feel like I disagree a little.
Why would you say that?
Just, and I also heard that they're also more emotional.
Are they?
Who have you heard these
Yeah,
things
because
from?
well, I mean, you guys will act off based off pride, and that is going to be like an emotion thing, not necessarily logic.
Do you think
That-
men or women have more cosmetic surgery?
I think probably women.
Yeah, probably women. Do you think that that's because they have way more self-esteem than men?
I
That's a good
don't
point.
think that necessarily what I'm talking about is the same thing. I just mean
Nah,
like,
well, I think it is.
Symmetric.
well, for instance, you just rated yourself a 4, right?
Yeah.
And maybe people may not agree with you, and I just rated myself a 10, and people may not agree with me, right? But we're just talking about simple our self-esteem. My self-esteem is clearly higher than
No,
yours.
I'm not sure that we are. I think that what we're talking about is a value judgment. And I think that I'm making a way better value judgment than the value judgment that you're making. So the value judgment that I'm making is this. I'm old, and I'm married, and I'm out of shape, and I smoke, right? And I'm not a very pleasant person to be around for long periods of time, especially for the opposite sex. Like, I know all of these things about myself. So my value judgment overall is a 4. Tell me the value judgment of how you came to a 10.
Oh yeah, I just think that in general we should think that we are great.
Right, so you just decided it with, there's no value judgment there, you just decided it.
Yeah, he asked me what I would rate myself, and
Yeah.
because it's my opinion
Looks.
about myself,
Just looks.
It took a long time for me to love myself, and I do now. And so yeah, I think that like, you know, I'm a Misty 10.
I have a question for you. Wait, hold on, just one sec. Do you
And
think?
you're a 7.5?
I said 8
Oh.
Yeah, get it right.
How
Andrew.
did you
Get
come,
it right,
how did you
Andrew.
come to that value judgment?
because I don't put within my value within a rigidity. That's not the right word. Rigidity. Thank you.
Rigidity, yeah.
Rigidity.
I don't put that within that rigidity of certain, I guess,
Value judgments.
more subjective opinions about what value is, because I know my value, I know my worth, and I know my beauty that I hold within myself for myself, and that is appreciated by other people, because at the end of the day, beauty is subjective, and it is absolutely within my right to hold myself to a higher value and how I conduct myself in the world around me.
Yeah, but when you're talking about the value judgment here, my wife, I'm sure that she has a way higher value judgment of me than I have of me. I would agree that she probably should. From her subjective assessment, she probably thinks I'm a great provider. She thinks I'm a great father. She thinks I take care of all of my responsibilities and duties. She can 100% trust me. So she probably has this really high value judgment of me. But when I'm doing an actual assessment of me, like Andrew Wilson, the person, and my looks and how it's reflected outwards to other people, right? I'm adding this value, this value, this value, this value, this value, like a mathematical formula to come up with that equals 4. What are you doing to come up with that other than I just think that we should have high self-esteem because I just think so.
Because I know I'm a good person. Because frankly, if we want to get aesthetic, I don't have a busted face. I'm fat. And if people want to reduce my value because of my fatness, that's not my problem. And that is not the ideology I hold for myself. I am someone who is pursuing weight loss, not for aesthetics, not for looks, but for my health. And it is something I'm moving forward with because I have been for the past 2 to 3 years now working on my self-love and loving myself into a place to care enough about myself to take my health back into control. When I was being consistently shamed, when I was gang stalked on r/fat people hate in 2015, when I have
Looks like it worked.
I'm still
Disavow.
speaking.
I mean, it looks like it works.
I'm still
right?
speaking.
It
and you
works
get-
because
Hold on.
you're going to
you know,
change.
you're really great at over talking and being disrespectful, and I'd love the opportunity to get my point
But
across.
okay, but so just to cut in here a little bit, the original question was rate your looks
Yeah.
because you mentioned your personality. You have a great personality
he
or
wasn't
whatever it
only
is.
And like
He
I said,
mentioned
my
his
fatness
personality.
doesn't devalue me
Why?
So I'm an 8.
Why doesn't it?
because I think that fat
'Cause you
can
think.
be beautiful. It's my assessment of my looks, right?
Perspective.
Yeah, but why
okay.
is it that your
Why
own
ask her
assessment of
and
your
tell her
looks
that her
has
perception's wrong?
nothing to do with how the external world perceives you? That's my
Because
problem.
I don't give a
But how
shit.
can you
Right, because you don't
decide?
care, so there's no
I
real
don't care
value
about,
judgment.
I don't care about other people's
how can
opinion
the-
of
how
me.
can
It's
you
not more
speak for
important
the
than the
rest
opinion
of
of
the
I hold of
world?
myself.
Yeah,
and
it
if you
is.
if you don't live that way, that sucks for you.
If there's a value judgment of how you would self-assess your own looks, the only possible conceivable metric I could even think of would be the perception of how other people view you for your value judgment
and
of
I
how
was in a
you look.
relationship for
How would
almost
you
8
know
years with
about
someone
that,
who
though?
thought my
How would you-
body
how could he-
was
how could
the
you ever
most
come up with a
beautiful
metric?
thing
But
he had
that's what I'm saying,
ever
you
seen.
decided that was perceptive.
And
You
he
just
had told me
decided
that
those are the things that you
more
were gonna
often
hold
than
on.
not.
Go ahead.
He had told me that more often
Wait,
than
can
not.
you speak certain
Yeah,
time?
he had told me that more often than not. I have been pursued by many men who think I am gorgeous and beautiful. That perception exists whether you have it or not.
Okay, so assume for a second, I can assume inside of, I can envision a world where you're the only human being who's inside of the
And
world.
guess what? I'll
And if
never be
you're
the only one who thinks
and
I'm
if
hot,
you're-
and I know that bugs the shit out of you,
If you're
dude.
the only human being who's inside of a
of
world,
his own
I can
low
perceive,
self-esteem opinion.
I can perceive that I can come up with whatever metric I want for myself because I have nothing to compare it to. So if I have nothing to compare it to and I have nobody else's value judgment, then I can say I'm the most beautiful person who's ever lived, and that would be true. But if I have
He asked
the
us our
value
opinions.
judgment of hundreds of millions of people
What do
to
you mean?
compare the standard to, and I know that I'm below that threshold and just decide that I'm above that threshold anyway,
I'm not the only
that's not
person who
based
makes
on
that
anything
decision.
objective. You're just making shit up.
No,
He
I'm
literally
not,
asked us
babe.
our opinion. So yes, it was a made-up opinion from us.
Yeah, it is. For sure.
Yeah,
It's
but that
way
was the point.
overstated.
That
What's
was the
true?
point. The only person who's not happy
Your
about that is you.
perception of your truth is not the same for myself or,
Thank you.
or
Amen.
anyone
How
else.
about that?
Yeah, what is truth in a world that you're an 8?
And what societal standards in which country?
I must
In
bug the
every
shit out of
country
you.
on planet Earth, she's not an 8.
Respectfully-
You're ridiculous.
I don't-
It's ridiculous.
Listen, in
Let's,
different
let's
places,
be
different
nice.
people
Let's
like
keep
different
things
things.
Yeah, he's so combative, bro. It's wild.
Well,
He gets very upset in the
I
Eastern
live,
States.
I live
So
in
mad at
reality.
him.
Do you know what
And
reality
that
is?
is the bottom line here, and I've been respectful. We're how many
It's not
hours in?
disrespectful. I'm just telling you what's true.
Oh, what was
I think
the
it's
what
like
was the
the
full about me
energy.
being a mother, bro?
That
the
was
energy
me.
you put towards it.
That was me
Guys,
being
let's,
able to.
No,
it's
I'm not.
interesting- it's
I'm not
interesting to
gonna. I
claim-
have been taking it respectfully for hours now.
But to be fair, also, it's interesting to claim to be so religious and so close to Jesus and be so negative.
To tell the truth?
No, I'm just saying, just to be so
What would
negative.
Jesus do? He'd
He
be
would
like,
tu-
"You're a 10,
he would literally
sweetheart.
turn the other
Forget
cheek.
objective
He would
reality."
turn the other cheek.
if I believed
He
in
would
Jesus,
turn the
he
other
would love
cheek.
me as one of God's children.
Yes.
He would have known that
Yes.
it's my
Your
journey and my
negativity is
life.
But he would know
embarrassing
you're
to the
fat too,
religious
whether he
claims
loved
that
you or not.
And you know what? Being fat is not bad.
It's embarrassing though to
And
claim
that's
the
the
religion you
fundamental
have.
disagreement we
Which is
have.
how
Insane.
negative. you
Just
speak.
fucking crazy.
It is. Yeah,
Like-
there's gonna be other people who are gonna be like, I don't claim this because it's like this is part of the reason why you're hypocritical.
There's
It's
no
for
hypocrisy.
You claiming to love and be this one big thing, and then to be so negative instead of encouraging or say even anything in actually
Love thy
constructive
neighbor,
way,
unless you're
form of
fat, right?
encouragement
in
is what
actually
she's
a
getting.
constructive way, you kind of just get pink and start yelling.
The only way,
Yeah, he gets real like.
the only way
and
that I
starts-
can get a word in when you shrill harpies are screeching is for me to talk loudly.
Oh no, you're really great at
You'll
over
do it
talking. It's one of your
regardless.
best
You've been doing
qualities.
it
You've
respectfully.
Well, I
displayed
have to
tonight.
cut down on the prattle. That's
Only
true.
push back on Pink after all of that.
I'm a terrible moderator. Okay, I'm a dog shit moderator. Okay, hold on. Let me just come in really quick. All right, put your swords away for just a sec. The views expressed by the panelists do not necessarily reflect the views of me or the whatever podcast. Now, you said. Okay, I have a question for you.
What?
Do you? I think you said women should view themselves better.
Not just women, people in general.
Oh, in general. But so do you think all women should view themselves as 10s?
I would love them to, yes, and not because everyone also agrees with them.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are all women 10s?
I'm attracted to men.
No, I'm not saying whether you're attracted to them, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
you could.
that
I'm
has
sure
to
you
do
can
with- it's
recognize
perceptive.
a beautiful woman.
perceptive.
But do you think all women are 10s?
In their own right, for sure.
Not sure what that means, but okay. Are all men 10s?
In their own right, for sure.
No, but do you think all men are 10s?
In their own right, for sure.
I don't really understand.
I can
Right, for
appreciate
sure.
I can appreciate things that I'm not necessarily attracted to. Does that make sense?
But do you think?
So in
What?
your eye, are all men 10s? Like just aesthetically, so just by looks.
And women.
Okay, so
and women.
Okay.
Because I know that someone thinks they're a 10, in my mind, that's good enough to be part of the 10, yes. Would I necessarily date them? Maybe not.
Well-
but as far as like believing they're a 10, I know, for instance, is ice cream bad just because someone doesn't like the ice cream? No, everyone's gonna have their different opinion of it. And so the fact that someone likes green mint ice cream, for me, it might not be my percent, but does it make it bad ice cream? No, it could still be good ice cream. So for that person, maybe they're not necessarily, would I date them, but do I believe they should think they are a 10 is what I said earlier. Yes, I believe they should think they are a 10. I think all people should love
So
themselves.
if we ask the question a
It
different
sucks
way,
so much to not love
and
yourself.
said if you mapped it onto reality, if you just mapped it onto reality,
Okay,
then
so I
what
was
would you
talking
say?
about some other thing.
Yeah, what would you say then if you mapped it onto reality?
What do you mean?
Are all women's 10 if you mapped it onto reality, rather than how you kind of subjectively feel like they should feel about themselves?
Yeah.
If you were to map it onto reality outside of that subjective
I think it
analysis,
would vary depending on where I'm at.
You're in Kazakhstan.
I don't know what the women are
So
like. though.
what would you
Pretty
say?
hot, I'd
For
say.
example, what would you
Pretty
say?
stacked.
What would you say Scarlett Johansson would be aesthetically, cross-culturally to most men? Do you think
guess
most
it
men would
depends on
find her
which
attractive?
country.
Russian milk.
It depends on what's, I'm only talking from someone who you guys all would not find to be attractive. Like, I'm not someone you're into, but I know there's men who think that I'm the shit. And different countries I go, like we were talking about it last time, like I might be like, and someone was clowning, they're like, she's not a Seattle 10, but like, I think it really depends on where you're at.
what country could Scarlett Johansson be considered not pretty in?
I don't know, I haven't been to all the countries.
Could you even envision that there is one?
I could, yeah.
You could?
What would you
could.
speculate?
I would speculate
She's okay, I mean.
the area where it would be attractive would be in a culture where the people look like that.
Like Sweden.
So you don't
Scandinavian
think?
countries.
So what you're saying? Europe, just Europe in general?
I mean, sure, it depends on, I just think
you don't
it
think
depends.
Africa either?
It depends. I'm probably South Africa. I don't know. I mean, it just depends. Like, I'm going to go different places and people are going to receive me different. I was considered to be beautiful in China, but not necessarily someone they would be attracted to, if that makes sense. And when I went to Trinidad, I was the shit. In California, people don't really care that much because I'm not necessarily their societal standards of beauty. So I really think it depends on where I'm at or where the person's at.
I'm not trying to be mean here, but
No one's a 10.
Facts.
I don't think you're a 10.
I know, you said that.
What did she say?
7.
See, look, Catholic. That's why.